let me just preface this video by saying I really debated with myself about whether or not I talk about this because Hillary Clinton is someone who I'm just sick of it, right? I'm sick of talking about her. I'm sick of hearing about her. And my feeling was that every time we see her in the news, if I talk about this, I am, in a way, inadvertently emboldening Hillary Clinton. I'm adding to the noise, and I'm done with Hillary Clinton. She has no real political power, even though she does have influence. There's still not really any good reason for me to talk about her, because if we all just stop paying attention to Hillary Clinton, at some point, she's got to go away. But unfortunately, when we're this close to the midterms, what she's saying, it's problematic, and I'm worried that right-wingers will use what she's saying, tie her to Democrats, and hurt their chances next Tuesday. Now, even if you aren't very enthusiastic about the aggregate Democratic Party, there's plenty of progressives running. We have Ben Jealous, Emily Sirota, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and whenever Hillary Clinton comes out and says something that's just absurd, then there's a chance that right-wingers will try to tie Hillary Clinton to all Democrats, including progressives. So this close to the midterms, I really felt like it was incumbent on me and maybe other progressives who feel compelled to speak about this to come out and say she is not representative of the left in any way, shape, or form. Now, most of you have probably seen a plethora of articles recently talking about how she's not ruling out a 2020 run and she's considering a 2020 run. There's been a number of articles and I've ignored them the best that I possibly can. But what she said here, it kind of crossed the tipping point for me where she's really actually floating the possibility of running in 2020. So here's what she said in a recent clip.
We're going to talk about 2020 in a minute. Do you want to run again?
No.
Wait.
No.
That was a pause.
Well, I'd like to be president.
Okay.
Look, I think, hopefully, when we have a Democrat in the Oval Office in January of 2021, there's going to be so much work to be done. I mean, we have confused everybody in the world, including ourselves. And we have confused our friends and our enemies.
Right.
They have no idea what the United States stands for, what we're likely to do, what we think is important. So the work would be work that I feel very well prepared for, having been in the Senate for 8 years, having been a diplomat in the State Department. And it's just going to be a lot of heavy lifting.
So are you going to be doing any of that lifting? Do you feel like...
Oh, I have no idea, Kara, but I'm going to, I'm not going to even think about it until we get through this November 6th election about what's going to happen after that.
So she's not running. However, she went on to speak as if it's possible that she could be running. She is presumably saying, look, we need someone who's qualified, who can hold that office and who's going to be competent. And I'm someone who is competent. I'm someone who would be very well suited to serve as president. So, in other words, no, I'm not going to run, but am I completely shutting the door on that? No, I'm not. And this is what some of her advisors have said, that she doesn't plan on running. However, she's not completely closing the door on a third presidential run. Now, personally, do I think that she's going to run? Probably not, but in saying something like this, I think she's kind of just trying to get that idea out there in order to get a feel for what people are thinking, and because I think that's the case, it's incumbent on us to scream as loud as we possibly can that the answer is an unequivocal no. And if she's trying to get a feel for the response among liberals, this is what we think about you running, Hillary Clinton.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
So with that being said, I don't think she's going to run at the end of the day, but nonetheless, even just suggesting it in this way, it's still incredibly harmful. It turns people off to the aggregate party. And again, we're a week out from the midterm elections. And if voters who are generally undecided or don't like Hillary Clinton think that she's still has a lot of sway within the Democratic Party, it's going to hurt the Democratic Party's chances overall. Now, understand that this isn't just me being biased against Hillary Clinton, because yes, I personally dislike Hillary Clinton, but look at aggregate public opinion polling. The latest one from Gallup shows that her favorability ratings are still historically low, and her numbers actually remained the same since last November. So even if it's the case that she's not necessarily getting any less popular, the problem is, as she speaks, she's not getting any more popular, and when compared with Donald Trump, he actually has had a popularity increase since becoming president, so she's more disliked than Donald Trump currently. So understand that if she were to run, which I don't think she will, but if she were to run, it would be devastating. It would essentially guarantee a second term for Donald Trump if she were able to win the Democratic Party nomination, that is. But I want people to understand that Hillary Clinton is not an adequate representation of the left. In fact, she doesn't represent the left at all. She's a right-winger for all intents and purposes. I mean, she's neoconservative, she's neoliberal when it comes to economics, and she's not liberal, and liberals don't like her. Now, there was a voter panel on CNN that talked about her stumping for Andrew Gillum, who is a gubernatorial candidate in the state of Florida. And I think that this was a really fascinating clip because it gives you some insight into what voters are thinking when it comes to Hillary Clinton. And I think it's representative of what we all on the left feel about Hillary Clinton, contrary to what the right believes. So take a look, and then we'll come back and share what they had to say about Hillary.
A show of hands, how many of you think overall Hillary Clinton is more of a liability than an asset to the Gillum campaign? Almost all of you.
Hillary Clinton is seen as this kind of figure that the right rails against. They go to rallies and they say, lock her up.
Hillary Clinton's a rallying point for the right. They use that messaging against Hillary Clinton to drive out their vote. So I think you could end up seeing a huge boost in their numbers because you have Hillary Clinton now on the other side being associated with Gillum so close.
What concerns you about the baggage and the scandals that she was associated with and how that might impact the Gillum campaign?
Well, her post-presidential sort of, demeanor or platform has been very sort of self-indulgent and very much about relitigating what happened in 2016. And our generation, my generation, doesn't really respond to, this relitigation of 2016. And I don't want to call it whining, but at this point, that's kind of what it feels like.
I am concerned, and as a young person, he nailed it. We're going forward, progressive movements, progressive policies, looking ahead, and I think she represents an old Democratic Party.
Does anyone think that Hillary Clinton can be helpful to the Gillum campaign?
I do. I think she can be financially helpful because she has a history of fabulous fundraising, and I think that's where she should stay.
As far as right now going out and making speeches for Mr. Gillum, I don't think so.
What is it specifically you think that, how might Hillary Clinton harm the Gillum campaign, do you think?
She's just got bad cred.
Bad cred.
Bad cred. People don't trust her. No one trusts her. I mean, the reality is I voted for her. I supported her, but she does things that she trips over herself. Yeah. And she makes big mistakes.
Hillary Clinton did an interview recently and said that she was asked about the Lewinsky affair, and she said that it wasn't an abuse of power because Monica Lewinsky was an adult.
Horrifying.
Is that something that Democrats want to hear right now leading up to the midterms?
No.
We're in 2018. Time's up. Me Too. Harvey Weinstein unleashed a generation-long abuse of power, and it's completely tone deaf to say that a female 21-year-old intern at the White House in the Oval Office with the president is not a victim, and is bringing her on going to be a trigger for some people, saying, do you know what she just said a week ago?
Her saying that, she was an adult and, we didn't do nothing wrong, can hurt him in a way, saying, she's supporting what they had done at that time.
So the last thing you want is her down here in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not. Let's get some fresh blood down here.
Yeah.
Let's spice it up.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's too important.
Yeah.
This is
Stakes are too high.
Yeah, the
It's
stakes
too
are
high.
too high.
It's too high.
Why risk it?
Yeah.
He's ahead right now.
So that to me is more representative of how the left, actual left wingers, feel about Hillary Clinton. So when the host asked them to raise their hand if they felt like she was more of a liability than an asset to the Gillum campaign, all but one person raised their hand. I think we all can agree on that. One guy said Hillary Clinton is a rallying point for the right. That's exactly it. She's kind of like Nancy Pelosi in the same way that, by tying a Democratic candidate to Nancy Pelosi, that really helps Republican candidates. And that's exactly what I think that right-wingers can do the more that Hillary Clinton gets her name out there and floats a 2020 run. Also, the girl in this clip who is a millennial said, as a young person, we're going forward. Progressive movements, progressive policies, we're looking ahead, and I think she represents an old Democratic Party. And that's exactly it. All the momentum is behind progressives. It's behind people like Bernie Sanders. And at this point in time, for Hillary Clinton to keep flirting with this idea that maybe she'd run again, frankly, it's nauseating to a lot of people because we're trying to stop looking back at the disaster that was 2016. We're trying to stop reopening up this argument and relitigating the 2016 election and the primaries. We just want to move forward. And the more Hillary Clinton speaks out and says something cringeworthy about Me Too and Monica Lewinsky, the more that she makes it clear that she's not entirely shutting the door to another presidential run, it hurts the left. And I'm worried that that extends to people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, another woman, the older lady in this clip, said she's just got bad cred. People don't trust her. No one trusts her. The reality is I voted for her. I supported her, but she does things that she trips over herself, and she makes big mistakes. Now, I didn't show you this, but towards the end of the clip here, and I'll link to that down below, Anderson Cooper brought on another pundit from CNN, and he also brought on Robbie Mook, who was Hillary Clinton's former campaign manager. And one of the reasons that they agreed voters don't like Hillary Clinton and individuals like Nancy Pelosi is because of sexism. Now, most of the people in this clip that spoke out the most were women. I don't think that they're sexist, but one, the weaponization of identity politics like this, it's horrible, right? Because actually legitimate claims of misogyny and sexism, I mean, if you make those claims, you're just going to be laughed out of the room because Democrats, they pull this up to basically demonize anyone with a legitimate argument as to why Hillary Clinton or Nancy Pelosi shouldn't lead the party. And understand that most people who are against Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi, like myself, we support people like Barbara Lee being House Speaker. We support people like Tulsi Gabbard and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So it makes no sense to certainly speculate about the left in this way, but nonetheless, that's what they did. And just objectively speaking, from a strategic standpoint, having someone who is a damaged political figure stump for other Democrats, it's just harmful. It's bereft of strategy. It makes no sense. And the same is true for someone like George W. Bush. George Bush is not a very popular individual, and even if his popularity may have increased, I think it still hurts Republicans. And like it or not, you're seeing people like Ted Cruz and Scott Walker, they're having to align themselves with Donald Trump because that's what excites the base, even if nationally that might not necessarily behoove them. But understand that strategically, who you align yourself with, it really matters. Now, I will say this, even though I'm personally dissatisfied and really disappointed with Barack Obama, him stumping for Democrats, that's actually not problematic because generally speaking, among the electorate, he is a popular politician. But someone like Hillary Clinton, it doesn't just hurt individual candidates, and at this point I'm speculating, right? Because we have no demonstrable evidence that she is hurting Andrew Gillum's chances, but for the most part, if you're unliked, the idea is you want to stay away from those voters so you don't hurt them. But if she's going to come out here, continue saying controversial things, and being generally divisive, it's going to hurt the party. And during midterms, I think at this point it's safe to say that she's just being selfish. She's only thinking about herself, and she doesn't care about the party. She is opportunistic. She is self-interested, and she doesn't have a real reason to want to get involved. She said it very clearly in the clip I showed you. I want to be president.
I'd like to be president.
Well, that's not good enough, Hillary. You had your chance and you blew it, and the implications of that are disastrous. In fact, it's going to hurt us for decades to come. So, for the love of God, Hillary, if you truly care about policy and the Democratic Party and the left, go away. Stop saying controversial things. Stop flirting with the idea openly of running for president again. We don't want you. And every time you come out here and say these things and show your face in public, we have to come out and assure voters that no, she's not representative of the left. We care about policies like Medicare for all and ending the wars. And you make our job that much more difficult. You make it easier for Republicans to win by tying other Democrats to your name. Just please stop it and go away. You are hurting everyone. And I'm so sick of talking about Hillary Clinton. I hope I don't have to do it again. And certainly after midterms, I won't feel as inclined to do that. I was going to ignore this. But again, I just felt like this close to midterms, I've got to come out and assure people, no, she's not representative of the left. Of course, that's not the case. She's not the left. The left doesn't think she's the left. True progressives like myself, we look at her as a right-winger because when you look at her political compass score, she's on the right. So just stop it, Hillary. You have to stop this.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.